Let's see. Okay, I think we have given enough time, so let me just jump into the presentation that I'm supposed to be doing. All right, just short presentation. And I'll say if you have questions, just ask. Um, that's one. Okay, good. Just now, wrong one, wrong one. Okay, let's get that back. Okay. All right. So what we're going to talk about is just something new. Now, what I want to share with you is just this concept, which Jesus mentioned: "Give and it will be given to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, will be put into your bosom. For with the same measure you use, it will be measured back to you." Now, that whole issue of focusing on giving is the new economy. The new economy is built on this. Let me explain why. The old economy or the obsolete income system was time and effort is equal to income. In other words, if I want more income, what I need to do is to work longer hours or I need to work harder. That was the old economy. In other words, if I'm making $5 an hour and I want to make $10 an hour, I need to put in um, do much more work, you know, right? Or I need to work um, twice as hard within the hour to make the $10, to make the $10 or the $20. That's this old system, right? Time and effort is equal to money. That was the old system, right? The new system is not like that. The new system is value is equal to income. Is the new income, new system. So value means what the quality of the value that I can create or provide or produce within the hour. What does it save the person that I'm working or helping? What quality of life, what result do I give them? Do I get them within the hour? If the result is a big result within the hour, then I get more income, even though it's 1 hour. If the result is a small result that anybody could provide, anybody could just do it, it's normal, then the income is small. So within 1 hour, you could make the same amount of money that you can make in 5 minutes. Or within 1 hour, you can make the same amount of money that somebody will make in a month because you're creating more value. You're providing more valuable solution, a solution that is a bigger pain or bigger problem to them. All right. So you have to find out what's the bigger problem that is that your skill solves, or that your gift solves, or that your talent solves. What's the biggest problem your skill or your talent or your gift solves? What's the greatest value that it provides? And one of the challenges that people don't know how to quantify or value, excuse me. A lot of people don't know how to put a figure on the value of something. For example, so let me give you an example. If I am going to buy, let's say, a piece of pipe to run in my yard, I'm doing construction and I'm running a piece of pipe in my yard to run water. I go to the hardware and they might have three kinds of pipe. And it was okay. This pipe will work, yes. It's just that you have to be careful that the pressure from the water company is not high. It must be low because this pipe could burst after a while. And you have another one that's intermediate. It's strong, yes, but after a while, sometime after a month of years, it might get start to get wear and tear and start to get slack and so forth. Right? And another one is, well, this one will last 20 years, 100 years, no problem. But the difference is one is $10, one is $50, and one is $100. So you pay the value of the $100 one that will last you 100 years. You won't live for 100 years, of course not. You might live for 50 years, right? But what that means is that you weigh the value of the different things. Another example you could look at is medicine. A medicine that solves one problem, which might work, and one that will solve it within 3 hours, or one that will solve it in the medical problem instantly. The value is what you're paying for, even though they might look as the same size, right? But the value is important. You could look at it at work. If you're providing a service, to ask yourself, can any and everybody provide this service? Can anybody provide this service the way I provide it, or the quality of the service that I provide? For example, if I'm a cleaner and I clean the floor when the day comes in my office, I can have one price that they pay me because I'm a cleaner that just clean the floor. If I'm a cleaner that keeps insects and different things away and makes the place smell sweet and comfortable, and the ambience is always shining and glittering all day, all week, once I'm around, there's a different value. Even though I might use 1 hour to do the same work, because of something that I use or something that I do in my cleaning, I might be able to provide the service of cleaning to create an ambience, to create an atmosphere, to create shining looking places and keep away all the insects and that sort of thing. Whereas somebody else might be able to clean, yes, but they just clean by sweeping the floor, they're okay. But now they will have some insects, the place is not really shiny, it's just okay, and that's acceptable. So you have different levels of cleaning, all right? That is why some companies, even though they have a cleaner, they hire a cleaning company to do what you call heavy duty cleaning, because that company provides a level of cleaning that goes beyond just the sweeping or the mopping, all right? It takes away grout and dirt and grime and different things. They do all of it, so you pay them more. So value is so powerful that people need to learn value and put a figure on value. Even value of information, whether you're doing an exam or you're providing information to solve an economic problem, a family life problem. So somebody have lost their job, how can I use my skill I only have 2 hours a day that is paid. How can I use my skill to create an income that surpasses the 8 hours a day that I'm working? That income that I'm working for 8 hours a day, how can I do something for 2 hours and create an income that's bigger than the income that I get from the 8-hour work? If somebody could provide that information to you, how valuable is that? Weigh the value of it, because it's much more information, right? So value is very powerful in this present economy. You have to learn to do value, all right? Finding and choosing jobs online requires two main things. When you go to any of the job sites, two things you have to follow. One, find out how it works, because each job site might have little differences in how the system works. The system, not just to register, but registration, coming up in ranks, getting chosen, getting recognized, getting promoted. How does it work? You have to find out how all the systems of that particular website or platform works. So you have to read, go to different seminars if they have training seminars, and find out from people who have done it, who are the high-paying ones, the ones who are at the top of their game, who they promoted them. They actually sometimes have them on the front of their page. They're promoting them because they are high-quality freelancers, self-employed workers. Find out what does it take to become one of those, to become chosen, to become recognized, to get more job offers than you need. You have to find out what that is. Then also follow the system that they have. Whatever it takes to provide that quality of service, whatever it takes to become one of the renowned freelancers that get job offers, that jobs just keep coming in your email for you to apply for you to take up and recognize and send proposals for. That you have to find out what does it take to get that, and then follow that system. Go through the system, work it. All right. Once you do those two things, you are sure to get jobs online by following those systems. All right. Follow the system. One of the challenges that I like to follow my own system, so sometimes that's a problem. Right. I don't know if you like me. I like to create my own system. So sometimes it's there, Sometimes you mightn't find the job direct exactly what you want. So you're going to create your own. I like to create my own, but then it's available for everybody. All right. Also, as I said, I wanted to share with you something about being paid online. So here's a system of getting paid online. The online systems are called online payment gateways. They are really like what you call online banks, right? And I'm going to show you a list of some of them. But the online bank is not the same as the bank in your community or in your city. It's not the same. Two different organizations. So those online payment gateways or online banks, you have to register on them to get an account with them. It's like in a bank account, right? And the bank account might not necessarily be a number like normal bank account. We have numbers. It might just be a link. It might just be that. It might just be a link, right? With your name that you register with. But whatever it is, you will get that link, right? And you have to link your local bank account or debit or credit card to the online bank account. So we have to learn from based upon the platform, you have to learn how do I connect my bank account or my card to that online bank. Because each gateway, each platform, each payment system have its own procedure, so process. You have to learn the process, all right? Also, the next step is that you have to add the link that you get, right? Add the link given to you by the online bank to the company paying you. So if you go on a platform to work or you're doing surveys, they want to know how to pay you. So you have to get a link from your online bank, and that link, they will show you where to place that link on the company that is going to pay you for your work that you're going to do. So when they get money for you, they send it to that link and automatically it comes to your online bank. You get money in your account, right? So you start looking out for the payments. Once you're doing work, you look out for the payments according to the company's payment agreement. Payment agreement means company might say, okay, based upon the little thing that you're doing, we're paying you $5 for every little thing that you do. But we're only going to send the money when it reaches $20. Some companies could be like that. We're only going to send the money to your account, your online bank account, when the amount of work you do and the payments that you are receiving amounts to $20. That could be it. All right. It could be maybe they pay you $1 for 1 minute of your work or 3 minutes of your work. But $3 or $5 for 5 minutes of your work. Something that you do, if it's a survey or something. Or if you're on a platform that we're actually doing jobs, actual projects, it could be they're paying you based upon whatever the agreement is, right? Once you complete the project, they pay you. That could be it. You get a project, the project costs 100 US, the person pays the 100 US for the project, but the money goes into what you call escrow. So the company keeps the money for you until you finish the job. So the company who owns the project has to pay the platform or the parent company, what you call it, like an employment agency. They're the ones who distribute the jobs for people. All right, I hope you're getting that. As you're getting this money come into the company that into the company where you're registered on, they're holding that money until you finish the project, and then the company you work for says, yes, project was good, it was completed, whatever. Then the company you registered with releases the money to your online bank account. Then you look out for that, you get it. That's the agreement. So you have to see different companies and different agreements. You have to know what the agreement is. All right. We teach people, we show people those things in our actual paid programs. Once you get money in your online bank, you then transfer the money from the online bank account. Sorry, that should be from, not for. I'm sorry about that. Right? Transfer the money that you get from your online bank account to your local bank account or your card with your debit or credit card. Remember I said in step 2, you have to link your local bank account or debit card to the online bank. There's a connection. You have to put in your bank account or put in your debit card number or credit card number. So some people might not have credit card, but you might have a debit card. Some online platforms don't take our bank account, some do, right? So you have to know which ones. I'll guide you when we go to the next slide, right? But you have to transfer the money from your online bank to your local bank. That's a transfer process. Then you check your local bank account for the money's transferred. Check it, make sure the money is transferred. Transfer may have delays, just like a local bank transfer. You have delays from online to offline. All right. If you're transferring money from one bank to another, sometimes there are little delays. Sometimes it's 24 hours, sometimes it's 48 hours, sometimes it's 7 days. Some banks are like that. 7 days. Wow. So different banks have different transfer periods when you transfer money. All right, and you could ask questions like that. You just check it and you get that. So some of these online banking platforms, here are some of them. WePay. WePay is the most Caribbean friendly banking platform, or online payment gateway, as we call them. Online banks or payment. It's the most Caribbean friendly. It takes your local bank account as well as it can take international cards, local cards, debit card, credit card, that's all. So it's the best for Caribbean people, supposed to be. Right? They need to do some work on the support. Best thing is to, before you register with VP, call them, talk to them, get to know them, get a kind of see the feedback speed and how responsive they are. Right? They need some help with that. All right. One that has been around for years, which is like the father of them all, is PayPal. PayPal has been there for years, but PayPal will only take you PayPal only take bank accounts from certain countries, US and other countries, but it take debit cards or credit cards from any country, right? You can put your debit card or your credit card there and you can make payments. If you want to, however, if you want to receive payments, if you want somebody to pay you, here's what you have to do. You must have a Visa card, debit card or credit card, but Visa registered in PayPal. If you use Master, you will just be able to make payments. You won't be able to receive payments. You won't be able to get paid. But if you want to receive payment, you have to use a Visa card in PayPal. All right? But that's okay. Once you have a Visa card, then you can transfer money from the PayPal account, which is your online bank account, to the Visa card. Then you go on your online bank, your local bank, and you withdraw it. Right? But that is for some people. Some people in our Caribbean have US bank account. You can check them out going and ask them, I'm located in this country. Would you accept my bank account, my US bank account? Because some countries have US bank account outside of the US, have US bank account. Ask them, all right? Some countries that don't accept the US bank accounts from the country, all right? Then you have Google, all the others, well, WePay, PayPal, and 2Checkout, and now Stripe are the ones I'm realizing we can use with local or Caribbean cards and bank accounts. Right? These four: Stripe, 2Checkout, PayPal, WePay. Either card or bank account or both. The others, Google Pay, Apple Pay, and WePay, this WePay, those do not allow for Caribbean payments. Right? They don't allow for Caribbean payments. So right? WePay might allow for Bahamas, I think. That might be it. Right? That could be wrong there. So basically, I just wanted to share with you some of the things related to getting paid online. All right. Any questions? That's it for me for today. That I'd like to share. But if anything you want to ask, just ask, and we're here to help. Okay, just raise your hand, and you'll be allowed. All right, questions. Let's see. Okay. All right, somebody ready to ask question? All right, here is Rose. How are you going? Good day, good day.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hi,
I
good
just
afternoon.
wanted to find out which one you said was better for Caribbean people, We Pay or We WI?
WIP. WIPI, WI.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
that's
right.
because it's created in the Caribbean actually.
Okay.
It's created in the Caribbean, right? But the others you can use, the other PayPal you can use, um, to checkout, and Stripe is now allowing Caribbean people, but
Okay.
WePay is Caribbean based, even though those are international and they allow for Caribbean. WIP, WIP, because I didn't say that because there are two WePay, right? Or WebPay and YP, which one? I just
Okay.
find out. But yeah, but the support, we need to help them with the support. They're a little slow on the support. They take the calls, yes, but we need to help with that. And they allow you, even though you don't have a card, even if you don't have a debit card or credit card, you can still get paid with them. That's the beauty of
Okay.
it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. I am not seeing. Well, message was sent out on WhatsApp, so anybody who wants to come in. I know some people. One person told me they will be late because they'll be home by 5 p.m. Jamaican time, which is 6 p.m. our time. So sometimes we give people the time to wait. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share the long version of that same video. Well, the long version is different than the same thing, all right? But if you have any questions, we'll pause and we will answer your question, right? About anything related to working online. I hope you all looked at the video on the Facebook page. That video went through a lot of information. If you want any clarification, just let me know, all right? But that was one of the major presentations we had a while now. Okay. All right. So let me see. That's a really long version. Right. Few seconds. I'm just trying to get rid of the ad. Right. Good. So let me share with you. Good evening. Hi. Good evening, Rutan. Um, welcome. I see you just typed good evening there. Did you have a question? Okay. All right. So let me just share this. All right. I have reviewed the videos and sites. However, most of the online sites are not accessible in Jamaica. Okay. All right. Let's find out what's going on there. Okay. So what you're saying, are you talking about the job sites? Oh, I am in the noise. Okay, okay, I understand. All right, are you talking about the job websites with the list of jobs? Is that what you're talking about? Or the survey sites? Which ones? I may know if it's the job sites or the survey sites. The survey sites, okay. You can access them in from Jamaica. Okay. What about the job site? Okay, so that means you can't do the job site. Okay, did you check the are you a person who love what's the other thing? Reading? Because there's also the book club. Are you a person who love to read? I will go to all the job sites. Okay. Are you a person who love to read? Because there is also a reading site where you get paid for reviewing books. Yes, right. You love reading. Okay, good. So what you can do, look for what you call the online book club. All right. Let's just take a look at that for now. Let me just stop sharing. Let me just show you. Let me just get that to kind of help you there. All right. Online book Club. Right there. Okay, great. Let me just share that. Right, so this is called the Online Book Club.org. Get paid to review books completely free. All right, go to Online Book Club, check and see if this you can actually use this. You register, submit, that's an email, right? And it actually carries you in where they actually give you books to read and to review for free. And sometimes it's not only book, not the whole book you're reading. Sometimes it's just little parts, right? Right? That's a well-known organization that does a lot of that. There is also a book called, I don't know if you like writing, or there's another one called Writing. Okay, right, love reading. Yes, onlinebookclub.org, right? If you like writing also, there is also a book on Amazon that says 13 ways to earn money writing or something. Write a lot. Okay, right. You write a lot. That's awesome. I think it's, just double check the title. I remember having that book some time ago. Let's just double check that. Amazon. So reading and writing is let's try to remember the book. Ways to earn money writing. Okay. Okay, so there is this one. Okay, you have more than one actually. Is it websites? Websites, that's not. So there are different books you could actually use. Here, these books actually connect you to places where you could actually earn money from writing. Some is blogs, some different things. Right, but my favorite one was that book. Right, this one. 35 more websites that will pay you to write. This one I love. Right? This one is the best I've seen over the years. All right. So you can go through this and they actually connect you to websites that will pay you to write. Right? 35 websites. All right. Very, very legitimate and real. Book is $10 US. I hope that's not too much outside your budget. But that's one, and then you have the reading. And so those are ways, and I think we need to add this to the presentation. I thought I remember to add that, I forgot that one. But those are things that we could actually add to show people that things that they love to do, you get paid for what you love to do. The people just love to write, and the people love to read. So, right? So there are ways, there are different ways. I don't like to do both. How do I read, but I skim reading? Skim the topic. Right. What I mean, repeat, I mean, you can purchase this book, and you inside the book will have the different websites. When you go to those websites actually show you how to get paid from writing. Okay, but it's not the only book, as we just saw. If you actually go back in Amazon here, you see there are a lot of different places, books you could actually buy that helps you with earning money with writing, from writing, right? From blogging. Right? A lot of these books. Right? So a lot of these, but my favorite is this because they have websites. This one talks about websites that are already set up. So you don't have to come up with this stuff. They actually help you a lot. You want me to 35 ways? I like that one. You're not seeing my screen? You see my screen? You're not seeing my screen. Oh, how come? You're not seeing my screen. Okay. All right. I don't know why you're not seeing my screen. I'm sharing. Let me share it over. See if that will help. All right. Does that help? Tell me if that helps. I shared it over. Tell me if you're seeing my screen. Seeing it now? Okay, great. All right. So what I was saying on Amazon, you can search for websites to earn money writing or ways to earn money writing. You can just see, besides websites, you can just see ways to earn money writing in Amazon. And when you scroll down, it actually shows you different books. Right? Right? 103 ways to earn money as a professional writer. Right? Right? And they have this one, Ultimate Freelancers Guide. But my favorite, as I was saying, is really this one here. Let me show you which one I like. So when I search for websites to earn money writing, I like the one that talks about 35 ways. Where is it? Yeah, this one. This one is my favorite here. 35 websites that will pay you to write. All right, so I hope that helps if you like writing. And is a Kindle, if you have Kindle account, a Kindle account is free. You go to the Kindle and you purchase the book. Do you have a Kindle account? A Kindle account is free on Amazon. It's a free Amazon account then. Free Kindle account. All right. Do you have a Kindle account? You can? Let me know. All right. Oh, you're getting disconnected. But I can create one. Okay, good, wonderful. Right? Go ahead. And this book is very helpful if you want to write. And the book club for reading. So these are things where you don't have to go and create anything big. You can just start with what you love to do one time. All right. All right. Earn little, then start with it and grow from there. Okay. I hope that helped. Anybody else? Any questions? Welcome, Nicole. Glad to have you. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Welcome. Any questions? We had a video, but as I say, if people want, they could see the updates on the video. You're welcome. All right. If you have any questions, just raise your hand and we'll unmute you and you will be able to ask your questions. All right. Okay. Well, in the meantime, let me just share the next part of the video on video was okay. All right. And once you have questions, just raise your hand. We'll just pause the video and answer your questions. All right.
To the stage, Ink senior writer Maria Aspen.
Next, I'm very pleased to introduce a session that can perhaps best be summed up in a quote that I got while reporting the cover story of our April issue of Inc. magazine. It's, oh my God, 1,000% times easier to start a business right now. That was the co-founder of a startup called Bloom That. If you don't believe him, though, the National Bureau of Economic Research has a little bit more data. For tech-enabled businesses, that 10 years ago would have required some $5 million to get off the ground. Today, they need a mere $50,000. And of course, for some businesses, you can get started with even less than that. Our next speaker is a big part of that. The cover subject of Inc. magazine, John Collison and his brother Patrick, 6 years ago saw a problem. It wasn't very easy for anyone to just set up a business and start accepting credit card payments or any other kind of payments online. 6 years later, their company, Stripe, has a $5 billion valuation. Companies that work with them from Apple and Lyft to Salesforce and Best Buy, and an exciting new product that is allowing entrepreneurs around the world to start doing business in the United States. Please join me in welcoming John Collison, co-founder and president of Stripe. John, thanks so much for being here today.
Of course.
So I wanted to go back to the beginning for the first question. You and Patrick looked around, saw this big, established, fairly mature, not always efficient industry of payments, and decided we can make it better, just the two of us. Tell us about how you made that happen.
Sure. I think you need some amount of naivete or youthful hubris to be able to make such a decision. But if you rewind to the beginning, I was 19, Patrick was 21 at the time, and you can argue whether or not we had relevant experience. We didn't, in the sense that we had not worked in finance or payments or really any real job before that. We did a very relevant experience in that we had started online businesses before. We had been the target customers for a service like Stripe. And the big trend I think we had noticed was, and it sounds funny to say this, but the finance industry just hadn't really adapted to the internet. It's as if the internet had arrived and they had made no changes whatsoever. And so if you wanted to start an online business, you were there filling in paperwork, faxing things around, waiting weeks for your account to get set up, and they were evaluating it just like they would evaluate a brick and mortar business. They were using the same process for giving loans to cafes and bakeries to setting up credit card processing for an online business, which is a totally different kettle of fish. And so we looked at this problem and we said, wait, as you mentioned in your introduction, there are all these, it's becoming increasingly easy to launch an internet product and achieve significant scale with it. And yet we're still going through this 1970s banking infrastructure when it comes to running the actual business side of things. And that's what we started working on. We had no idea what the total addressable market size was or anything like that. We knew that we would use this and a few of our friends would use it, and that seemed like a total addressable market enough. And sure enough, it has turned out that this is something that a lot of people really want.
And how do you quantify that total addressable market now? I think there are estimates that there are about $1 trillion in e-commerce last year in the US, that by 2020 there will be about $6 trillion of e-commerce payments. What do you see as being the Stripe target?
Yeah, I think those are good guiding numbers. So you can start by looking at the total e-commerce market, and if you talk to any business, large or small, about how they generally had to set up the payments and business side of things, they will probably have horror stories about how difficult it was, especially the further back you go. And so we think the e-commerce market could be much better served than it is today. And another important factor to realize is that the e-commerce market itself is growing really quickly. So when you invariably think about an interesting technology company today, if you picture Lyft or Uber or Instacart or Airbnb or any of these, they're actually not competing with other e-commerce players. They're replacing spend that you previously would have made in the offline world. Before you would have taken a cab, now you take a Lyft, something like that. And then lastly, there are already many things beyond just the payments part of running the business, and we'll get to Atlas a little bit later, but there are many things beyond just payments that people need for running an online business that we view as being within our market.
Yeah, before we get into Atlas, maybe you could talk a little bit about, you've mentioned that you're passionate about other startups and products that are also making it easier for businesses to get off the ground. I think crowdfunding is a particular interest of yours. Could you tell us a little bit about what you see what other companies you see as broadening the market for entrepreneurs?
Yeah. So there's a general trend we're very excited by, which is the real decrease in the difficulty and cost of starting a business. And we think this is a good thing for the world. Anywhere that you have strong forces towards incumbency, you generally have a slower rate of innovation and worse customer service. So you can picture, the airline industry where you have all this consolidation, or telcos. I don't think anyone is particularly happy with the service they're getting from Verizon or Comcast. And I think a large part of why this is bad is because it's so hard to break into these industries. It's so hard for new entrants to come around. But in most industries, luckily, it's not true, and it's becoming easier for people to break in. And so, obviously, we want Stripe to be a part of that trend where you have more and more new businesses getting started. I think the whole wave of new hosting companies like DigitalOcean, Amazon Web Services, Heroku, things like that, have made it, 10 or 15 years ago, especially during the dot-com bubble, if you go back and read, people were spending millions and millions of dollars on these setups just to be able to host an internet site and serve it to people. And now that is not an impediment for people. And then you get into new methods of funding, which we think are pretty interesting. You look at projects on Kickstarter or crowdfunding platforms like this, and many of them tried to raise venture capital money and couldn't. The venture capitalists told them they were crazy or this idea wouldn't work. And so these are quite possibly projects that would not have gotten off the ground, but now Kickstarter gives them a new way to raise capital for this business that's getting started. Similarly, we think equity crowdfunding is pretty interesting, things like AngelList. All that's really exciting because it allows new businesses that might not otherwise have existed to get off the ground.
What was the hardest part of starting Stripe or getting it off the ground?
A significant and repeated source of challenges was the fact that we were trying to not just do a pure technology company, but we were basically building a technology and a finance company. And that is not actually something there are a lot of models that you can look up to for how to do. There aren't that many other companies in this space. And so it left us figuring out many things from first principles. But I think that's also, the fact we've been trying to figure that out all along the way has been what's led to a better customer experience with Stripe. The fact that Stripe basically owns the end-to-end of the experience. So rather than just saying this is a nice software layer that we put in front of all this cruft that we then make you, the customer, deal with, it's instead you sign up for a Stripe account, you give us your details, and then like the money arrives in your checking account a few days later. That's a really valuable experience for people, but that was hugely hard to figure out along the way.
I think it's been pretty widely mentioned that PayPal is really the last innovative. PayPal and Square are the last two innovative payments companies, startups. Peter Thiel, PayPal co-founder, invested in you guys. How much did you look at the PayPal experience as you were getting off the ground?
PayPal was very influential back in its day. Back when it started in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was really no online commerce, and they were a very significant part of that shift towards getting people comfortable with paying on the internet. I think the thing that they're struggling today now with is that there's a secular shift away from the paying with PayPal behavior in terms of consumers' preferences. And so people don't want to, I think, go to a different website or a different app to pay for something and then come back. That kind of dates from the era when you're almost afraid to pay on this random sketchy website, whereas now people are pretty comfortable using their credit card online. And so what we see as the best-in-class experience today is you just enter your payment details once, it's saved in the app, and then you forget about it. And that's what Lyft, Uber, Airbnb, Hotel Tonight all do. You enter your payment details once, and then you never have to think about it again. And then even things like Apple Pay and Android Pay coming from Google, which make it even easier because you're not even entering in that payment data. That's where we see the future going. And so I think that's the issue they're struggling with now.
And you work with Apple Pay and several other large tech companies, Facebook and Pinterest, I think, being among them. How did those partnerships come about, and what was the tricky part or the fun part of getting them started?
I mean, the way they came about was that, say in the case of Apple and Apple Pay, Stripe is now powering a very significant number of apps in the App Store that are accepting credit card payments for all manner of things, from selling stuff online to food delivery, to transportation, to everything like that. And Apple obviously wanted to make it easy for people to integrate Apple Pay into their apps, and so it was kind of a natural fit for us to work together on that. And now a very significant fraction of the apps in the App Store that are using Apple Pay for in-app purchases are powered by Stripe.
So as a bit of a segue, I have to ask, what's more stressful, getting the call from Apple or getting the call from the White House?
The call from the White House was not actually, the call itself was not stressful. I would say that the week that followed was stressful. For context, well, maybe do you want to explain the context, or will I?
Sure. So, well, I'll let you introduce the product, but Stripe has a product that's about a month old called Atlas. I referred to it in my introduction. It allows an entrepreneur outside the U.S. to apply for and pay a flat fee to do business in the U.S. And a couple of weeks ago, Stripe opened it up in Cuba, and John's brother Patrick went with President Obama to Cuba.
Yeah, so we launched this product, Stripe Atlas, which is part of our general larger view of Stripe is to grow online commerce. And one way we can do that is by making it easier for people to accept payments. But we had noticed that for many people in many countries, even before they got as far as payments, just the very fact of opening the business was really difficult for them. So incorporating, getting access to banking, things like that. And so we launched Atlas, which is a product that no matter where in the world you are, you can get access to a US corporation, a US bank account, and things like that. And so we launched it. We were very happy with the response. We got applications from businesses in 185 countries in the few days after the launch. So, I mean, more or less all of them. And I say more or less all of them because there are a few countries really that a US company can't do business with, the ones that are embargoed or sanctioned by the US.
Any applications from North Korea?
Well, we block the sanctioned countries. And nice try. So we thought we kind of tapped out the list of countries. It's hard to expand on that addressable market. But then the White House, there's been this thaw in American-Cuban relations over the past maybe year or so, and the White House got in touch in advance of their trip to Cuba. And they had been meeting with entrepreneurs in Havana. And one or two of them said, you should check out this Atlas thing. It would make it really easy for us to launch businesses here. And so we got a call from the White House saying, would you guys be willing to launch this Atlas thing in Cuba in a week and a half? And we said the only logical response, which was sure, why not?
But just for context, you've been working on Atlas, the product, for a year and a half before?
We've had the idea of Atlas for more or less since the start of Stripe. And it has always bugged us that we have to go country by country expanding Stripe in new places rather than being able to have it available globally. And then, yeah, Atlas itself, the product, had been in the works for a number of months. We had no idea this Cuba thing was coming when we launched it. And so we quickly had to scramble to line up the various partners who we work with to make the Atlas product work. For the past 50 years, US business has been predicated on, you do not trade with Cuba. It's quite illegal, and bad things happen if you do. And so we had to quickly go and reverse that because they rolled back the Office of Foreign Asset Control sanctions that prevent people from trading with Cuba, and now it's quite okay and quite encouraged to do so. And so Patrick joined the White House delegation to Cuba, met with local entrepreneurs and kind of technology enthusiasts there. And really it's quite exciting in that it'll take a little bit of while for business to ramp up in Cuba. Internet penetration is very low there right now. But it's a country of 12 million people with a highly educated population. The Cuban government is doing this push towards expanding broadband access. I think long term it'll actually be really exciting.
Have you accepted any applications from Cubans so far?
We've gotten a bunch of applications from Cubans and we're in the process of getting the first one set up.
And can you tell us more broadly how Atlas is going so far? So launched February 24th or so, I believe.
Well, you have a better memory than I do. Yes.
End of February.
So, maybe first to back up on why Atlas at all. We had noticed in the course of starting Stripe that the internet has permeated every corner of the globe, more or less, in this very meaningful way. I mean, I personally feel this, where growing up in Ireland, I was part of one local community, which was the one I was geographically in, but also growing up as a teenager with the internet, learning to code from it, meeting various people in online forums. You have this separate global community that you get to be a part of, and that's really something quite special. And so, for example, I don't think I would be out here really if it hadn't been for the internet growing up, because that's what let me learn to code, that's what in turn led Patrick and I to starting our first business, and then eventually moving out here and starting Stripe and things like that. And so it was a significant part of my life. And it turns out that there are millions of other people with similar situations like this who have gotten a huge amount of knowledge, gotten a huge amount of value from the internet. Those people in a lot of countries are by and large shut out of the online economy. And so they might be participating in open source software development, they might be learning things from various internet forums, but if they actually are now building a product and want to create value from it in their country, they more or less can't. Because the payment systems aren't there, because the banking systems aren't there, because the corporate law is not there. And so our idea with Stripe was, we had seen this behavior in the Stripe user base. People often virtually creating US corporations to get to participate in the US business climate, where they would fly out to the United States, pay $1,000 for airfares, $1,000 for legal fees, maybe eventually, if they were lucky, convince a bank to work with them, even though to a bank this is really scary, foreigners in a different country working on this internet idea thing we don't understand. But there was this behavior, or honestly, more commonly, these people would just immigrate to the United States, and they would move here and start the business here. And we thought this was bad because, one, many more of these businesses would be getting started if it were easier. And two, people should not have to move to the United States to get a good business climate. They should be able to get a good business climate in their home countries. And so, for the longest time, again, like I said, since the start of Stripe, this had been bugging us. The fact that this opportunity was very unequally distributed. And we eventually figured out that something like Atlas we thought would be possible. And so we spent many months getting the right partners on board. That was a significant part of it. We knew that we couldn't do this ourselves because, I mean, frankly, we weren't going to go become a bank just to give people access to the banking system. People complain, by the way, about the US banking system. Compared to a lot of countries, we're doing really well.
Good to know.
And similarly with other partners on the tax side and finance. And so that's how we came to it. In terms of how it's been going, like I said, the demand has been really strong. More or less businesses from every country have applied. And honestly, the big thing we are focused on now is trying to scale it, trying to get these businesses onboarded as quickly as we can, because there still are manual components and we're working with various partners on the back end, and we want to be able to support a very large volume of businesses going forward.
And you mentioned some of the costs that people would have incurred previously in order to start their businesses here, whether coming to the country or flying here. In contrast, you priced this whole deal at $500, I think, to start off. It doesn't seem like Stripe's going to reap much business benefit from it in the short term.
Yes, I think in the short term is the very salient detail there. So our idea with pricing it was, our intent was to more or less price it at cost, where there's lots of Delaware filing fees and things that we incur. And so it's not our aim to make money off the setup of the businesses themselves. We want to make it very easy for motivated, talented entrepreneurs to take advantage of this. We're deliberately making it $500 and not zero, because we think, I mean, there are real obligations you're incurring in incorporating a business in the United States. You know, there are tax obligations, legal obligations, things like that. And so we don't want to make it any simpler than it actually is, but it should be much simpler than it has been up to now. So not making money off the incorporation, but we expect many of these businesses to become large, successful businesses over time. If you want an example of the sorts of businesses people are creating with this, check out a company called Instabug. They are bug reporting and software development software. They're based out of Egypt. They're hiring people in Egypt to work on this. And it's used by lots of Silicon Valley tech companies. They're the prototypical example of the kind of company that we want to support. And that's actually for us maybe the core thing behind Atlas is that this company in Egypt is not selling to the local Egyptian market. Thanks to the internet, they're selling to the global market, and that's the opportunity for people like that. They were just unlucky enough to be based in Egypt, where it was really hard to do so.
Okay, we're just taking a break to see how people feel about what they're hearing. There was a shorter video. Just remember that there was another video should have already shown, where they were interviewing Patrick here, and he was talking about how he and his brother actually dropped out of college to start this company. You know, this whole process, because they saw this problem. Right? But so far, are you getting anything? Anything ringing out? Any questions? Anything to share? We have about 10 minutes again, but right. Somebody have a question. Right. Rose.
Hi again. And what jumped out at me is that, you know, as you shared in a webinar before, is that they actually saw a great need and just jumped in and just try and do something to solve the need that was there. It was a great need and it paid off for them, you know, to drop out of college to start a business just to cater to this particular need. And I mean, it must have been, they saw that it was lucrative and that, you know, they could do something to actually find a solution, and they did. I mean, it seems they kept, you know, improving on it as time goes by, but it's working.
Right. Awesome. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. That is so true. Do you find that challenging? Do you find, how do you find that happening in the Caribbean? Do you think that can happen in the Caribbean, or you see people doing it in the Caribbean?
I think it is happening, but not to the extent that it should.
Okay. What do you think is keeping it back, or is limiting the extent?
I think the Caribbean people on a whole are more risk averse. And I think that's what it probably needs, people to be willing to take the risk. I mean, yes, it has to be calculated risk, but I think we just need to be more brave, more courageous to see. And I think we need to start doing more research as well. You know, if we're serious about going into business and be leaders in our field, then we have to do more research to see what is actually needed, what is out there, and how we can provide very, very good service and products. You know, not just to provide them, but to actually provide value, as you presented in the first part of this meeting, value, to add value.
Wow. Do you have conversations like that with anybody, any group, any setting? Do you ever hear it at all of conversations like that happening?
Not to a great extent, but yes, to close persons that are close to me, yes, I would. But I mean, just since the pandemic and my awareness being increased, I'm seeing the need for more and more of this as Caribbean people.
Wow. We have to work on this. Yes, definitely, definitely. Do you see any risks that you would like to take that you might need to do some more research in?
Yes, in fact, we have had conversations recently, and I'm still processing it because, as I shared with you, I am in the field of counseling. But what happened with counseling is that because of confidentiality issues and so much ethical guidelines, we're not allowed to advertise
You're not allowed to advertise what?
counseling.
You're not what do you mean you're not allowed to advertise counseling?
We're not allowed to advertise, like regular, like you're providing a product or a service and you're just free to advertise. We have so many clauses and things that stipulate how we advertise. So it's not as clear cut as just any business. So I was wondering, if it's better to go the coaching line, because I know that coaching is a more broader term now and something that most people are gravitating towards. So I'm looking into that.
Mm-hmm. Very good, very good, very good. And any of the, for example, I know you were in the first meeting where I showed where you use some of the platforms online to do the research,
Yes,
find
yes,
out.
yes.
Okay, so that's good. So you're working on that to find
Yes,
out.
I am.
Great, great, great. Okay, great. Do you have any questions related to that? Your research on coaching in the areas that you love to do?
I mean, it is so wide, and that's one of the challenges I have is how to narrow it down because I find that I am more drawn to helping teenage and young adult girls,
Good.
who have been through trauma,
Mm-hmm.
abuse and that kind of thing. But then when I go online and put it, there is just so much, it's an overwhelming amount of information.
Right. So the idea is so what you might have to do once you've decided that you want to find out how do I help this group of people, you have to find out if they're looking. So we have to find out, okay, where do I go to find out where they are complaining? Or where are people complaining about them or
Okay.
for them? Right? So the thing about it is that um, you have to ask the question as somebody who's looking for help. So you're not asking the question as somebody who's trying to help. You're looking for somebody as one of the teenagers looking for help. If you're a teenager and
Okay.
you have one of the traumatic situations, what would you be typing in? Or if you have a daughter or a niece with the traumatic situation, what would you type in? What are the questions you will ask? That's how we have to approach it.
Okay.
We're approaching it as the customer, not as the provider, not as the supplier. Get it?
Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Start crafting your questions around like that, as if I have the problems. And work on that. Okay, that way. See
All
if
right.
you
Thank
get
you
see
very
it's good.
much.
Yeah.
But I will continue to come on, because
Yes.
I learn something new every time I come on. So thank you
Wonderful.
so much.
Well, that's good. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. Okay. Anybody else? All right. But as I said, I will put this link, the link with this video in the chat. Let me just I'll put the link in the chat so you could actually go on, and there are several videos actually on the page, and you can actually go on and look at the different videos. All right, so let me just send that there. There's several videos on that same page related to this company, and this is one of the hardest areas to develop because this is a payment system company. Payment system company are very difficult, especially they are not in finance. If you're not in finance, It's hard to develop a payment system company because you're dealing with accounts. Finance is like an online bank. So that means they have to go outside of looking for people, looking for partners, and that sort of thing to solve the problem. It's like Uber. The people who developed Uber, they weren't taxi drivers. You understand? They weren't taxi drivers, they weren't truck drivers. They didn't own a rental business or anything like that. And they developed a car company that provides transportation service. They weren't in the transportation business. So you don't have to be in a specific business. The need is what is the issue. The need. You have to be passionate about the need. And then find out, are other people having this problem? You know, the research that you're doing is to find out, are there others having this similar issue? Or have asking the same question, but haven't really followed it up to trying to do something about it. And then, if you want to do something about it, then you start going further down the line. Right? That's where the innovation come in. That's what we call the group innovation group, business innovation. Right? Of course, when you're ready to do the business, you have to get your business administration and all that sort of thing working. Right? But the innovator is the person who come up with the idea and check the idea out and then connect the dots and say, hey, this is something, we need to do something about this. Right? That's what the innovator does. And then, of course, as you go along, you want to adjust. That's another part of the innovation. You want to tweak it or adjust it based upon the climate, based upon the customer service or needs. You make your adjustments to provide a more productive need, a more efficient, a more effective solution to the need. You tweak it according to the need. Right? So I really hope that helps a lot. And, blessings to you all. We have 2 more minutes. If you have any questions, just ask. If not, we are going to be out in 2 minutes. And of course, during the week, you can just remind that during the week, you can ask questions in the chat. That's why we have the Facebook, and that's why we have the WhatsApp group. If you find anything that you're looking for, or you have several questions and you're not sure which one should I follow, which one should I focus on, try them. Here's another thing. I guess one of the days I will share on this. And I think most people that are on tonight are Caribbean. I didn't see Chris. I didn't see 1 or 2 other people from the US or from South Africa or anything like that on tonight. Because there are some people like that on the WhatsApp group, right? So South Africa, different places. So one of the things that we have to look at in the Caribbean is this. We are afraid to share our information with other people because we're afraid of competition or somebody stealing my idea. Right, so that's a mindset that have to shift, like the whole issue of time and effort is equal to money has to change from value is equal to money. The same way, competition is good. Competition means that people are willing to pay for the service. That means you go in the direction. If there is no competition, then nobody's doing it at all, then it's more than likely people are not going to pay for the service. People have tried it. So, like for example, Stripe was developed because there were other companies besides Stripe, but they didn't see certain particular solutions provided by those companies, right? So there were other companies doing online banking, but they weren't providing it the way in which Stripe saw it needed to be provided, right? So most of the time we run from competition. No, run towards competition, because what you're doing is that you're gradually getting to find out what is lacking, what is missing in the service that is being provided as well. All right. Remember, I don't know if you remember when we did the presentation, we showed that there are 3 major, well, actually 4 major markets three major ones, but then there's another one, art and entertainment. That's a big one also, right? Relationships, money, um, health, but arts and entertainment is one too. But under those, there are what they call subcategories or sub niche. Inside of those sub niche, each person have to specify a specific need beyond just the group. Like for example, as I mean, use what Rose spoke about in terms of helping girls. You could want to help young teenagers, but you need to specify girls separate from boys. That's a separate need. But also, you may want to help teenage girls that have gone through a specific trauma. And what it does, it makes you highly valuable. Or teenage girls from a particular category of um, class, working class, maybe middle class family, teenage girls belonging to middle class families, right? And you could work with that group alone. That is valuable. But it could be somebody else providing service to teenage girls who belong to high class families that have gone through a particular traumatic situation. That's specific, right? No, we haven't spoken about teenage boys yet. So even that is a category by itself. The narrower you get is the more valuable you become and the higher your revenue or your income, right? So you bring your value down to an arrow, and I'm going to show that next week. In fact, that was one of the things I should have brought. The whole issue of the arrow, getting to the arrow point. It's a pity I didn't show that today, right? But getting to the arrow point of the niche, the sub niche, the sub niche, and then go down into there with a specific need, right? So you want to get to that specific category. The more specific you get, as I said, higher your value, higher your income, right? Of course, sometimes, I mean, like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, like you said, 10 years ago, you shouldn't narrow yourself down too thin 10 years ago. Now, you could narrow yourself down very thin and still be valuable because there are so much avenues and so much opportunities now. And with COVID, it has expanded beyond, right? What we could ask or imagine, okay? So I hope that you don't get discouraged with competition. Don't get discouraged sharing your ideas or what your findings are and asking your questions in the group. It helps somebody, but also helps you because the more you give of value, the more you share of yourself, the more you show yourself as vulnerable, is the more you receive, right? The more you get, right? So the more you open yourself, is also the more you receive. All right, give, and it will be given to you. Press down, shaking together, and running over. Shall people pour into your bosom? All right. Okay. So focus on giving value. Focus on giving of yourself. Focus on giving little things that you discover in the groups, helping each other out. As you help people, even though you have a need, as you help others, they in turn help you. You could even collaborate with each other and do things together, do a seminar together, do a workshop together. And in that workshop, you actually help, the people actually help each other grow their businesses. That's the big word these days, collaboration, not competition. Competitors become collaborators now. That's the big thing. That's driving a lot of small companies and making them big. They're turning their competitors into collaborators and creating huge revenue streams. All right, that's what's happening in the world now. So the systems have changed. It's no longer as before, where you have to be afraid and run from people and run from competition. No more. All right. So I hope this was very beneficial to you. Have a pleasant afternoon. Bless you. The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you, and the Lord makes his face to shine upon you and give you peace. Okay? Have fun and have a good night. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rita. Thank you, Nicole. Thank you.